Well, happy Valentine's Day. We are your marriage
Ooh.
coaches, Nicholas and Carmen Sau.
Hello.
And obviously, we're culminating with the end of National Marriage Week here on
Mm,
Valentine's Day. So, we figured the best way to celebrate Valentine's and to finish out National Marriage Week was to take a little bit of time just reflecting on love and the
hmm
idea of love, and maybe something that you've learned about love that has been incredibly profound for you.
Well, I've learned that there's human love and then there's divine love. And the divine love will always trump human love. Because there's all sorts of things that humans can do with willpower. It's quite amazing, actually. Like, willpower is pretty incredible. And I would even say that willpower can lend to love on a human level, I think. But I think there's something about divine love that when you really experience the love of God for yourself, it transforms the way that you love your spouse. And that love is a lot easier than the willpower that human love can take. Because I think like there's a lot of couples that I have seen who like they don't know Jesus and they really truly love each other. Like it's not like they don't love each other. They really truly do. And so it's like no there's something about love that God has innately put inside of us that we can actually love without him. And yet there's a deeper, richer, more impactful love that is only divine and we only access it through Jesus. I don't think there's another way to actually access that kind of love. Like you see the love that covers over a multitude of sins, or you see the stories of couples that there's been crazy amounts of uh, brokenness or pain that maybe one spouse has caused another. Like it's not actually humanly possible for that other spouse to just forgive and for there to be this transformational story. That's divine love. That's a different level of love than humanly possible.
Yeah, I think about 1 Corinthians 13. It's called the love
Mhm.
chapter,
Mhm.
and all the different facets of love and what it looks like. And for most of my life, I would look at that passage of scripture, those verses, and
Mhm.
think love, in my experience of it, doesn't look like that.
Yeah, true.
And I think the more I've learned about who I am and myself and my identity, the more I experience love from you in our marriage,
Mm.
the more I realize I deserve it.
Mm.
I was made for it.
Mm.
I am worth loving.
Mhm.
Those were really big because
Mhm.
I didn't have a huge influx of those messages growing up.
Mhm.
And to be able to experience that within marriage has been maybe not only one of the most healing things,
Mm.
but one of the most life giving, rewarding, peace filled things that I've ever experienced.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
teaching me and showing me very clearly when I'm not operating in love
Mm.
and how
Mm.
I need to come back to the reset button and be like, whoa, hold on. I played it the wrong way. I need to do
Mm.
it differently.
Mm.
And so I think the more I experience it in a healthy way, the more I am convicted about how to walk it out well. The more I'm aware of when I'm not walking it out well.
Mm.
Yeah, it's changed things in my life.
When I think about 1 Corinthians 13, I've always thought about it as like, okay, that's like the standard. Like that's like the goal that you're always trying to strive for with love. Love keeps no record of wrongs. Okay, I'm going to, try to strive for it. And realizing, like, I think that's the willpower piece I was talking about earlier. But realizing that when that passage is talking about love, yes, it's talking to people, but remembering that that's actually like the way that God loves us, and that's actually his love towards me. And that when I saw that differently, as it's not just this unattainable or this like trying to scratch at the surface of this long list of what love is supposed to be like. No, that's actually the way that he pours his love out on us. So if I receive that, then I can actually let that love fill me up so that I can actually do that. And all of a sudden, all those things become a whole lot easier. And that's how it becomes transformational. When it actually says at the end of that passage, like, okay, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. And then you actually look at the way that life can look through the lens of that kind of love, and you realize, oh yes, that really is the greatest things. Like, what can actually reverse crazy amounts of conflict between two people? Oh, well, when there's been crazy amounts of conflict, what usually happens? Oh, defense mechanisms are high. People are out trying to defend themselves. They're in war against each other. But as soon as love gets turned back on, as soon as somebody makes the choice to go back to love, then all of a sudden everything shifts, and it literally changes the landscape of what is possible in that relationship. And so love really is the most powerful thing. Think about even like the biggest topics where there's the most controversy. Like, as soon as love gets infiltrated into those places, all of a sudden people's hearts begin to shift, perspectives begin to change. Doesn't mean that somebody's suddenly going to agree when they didn't agree before, but the perspective of the person changes, because it's almost like if there was iciness in a spot, love is like that warmth that comes in, and all of a sudden everything feels different, everything feels better. Your guards can go down. So I think it's so incredibly powerful. And I know in my own life, in moments when I haven't operated in it, or I've chosen to operate in fear, or I've chosen to operate in anxiety or anger or resentment, it's never produced anything good. As soon as I can go back to that place of love, all of a sudden I have access to, well, one, I can think clear. And then two, I have way more access. All of a sudden, all these other ideas or solutions or inspiration comes back. It's super powerful.
The last piece for me is, I think it was C.S. Lewis that once said, humility isn't thinking about less of yourself, but thinking about yourself less. And growing up, I was always pegged with the title of selfish or arrogant or anything under the sun that was synonymous with those two words. And so I grew up thinking that, but and maybe in some ways it was true. But because those words were put on me, I think I lived up to those words in the sense that I because I felt like I had to kind of care for myself. I was very self-centered and I was very selfish because I thought, okay, I'm gonna, I have goals and dreams. I'm gonna do these things, but I didn't realize that the self-centeredness kind of became the reality that I became used to living out of. But when I realized that to fully thrive in a marriage, to fully thrive in a relationship, like I had to learn to shift. Well, one, as I was getting my needs met and I was being cared for, that shifted things. Yeah, so I think for marriages, when they actually step into the place of, okay, I'm going to stop fighting for my wants and needs, and I'm actually going to choose to love and serve, then in trust, what will be responded to reciprocally is that you will also do so in like. And I think that's the biggest fear for so many people is like, I already feel there's a deficit in my love tanks. I already feel that these things, these hopes, these desires that I had in marriage just aren't there. But somehow if I lay them down and choose to serve and love, like I'll somehow get these back.
Yeah, it's very backwards.
But we see that all the time with couples, and especially in the work that we do. Yeah. Like when they choose to love and serve and they choose to, yes, work on their stuff and own it and take accountability. But that's where I see love most powerfully. But it's a dying to oneself in order to show up for your spouse in a way that you don't think or feel or sometimes perceive could ever come back to you in the very things that you're hoping and wanting for.
Yeah.
And for me, that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And it does feel very backwards. And I think for so many people, they're like, oh, that's not even possible. Why would you even do that? But actually, it's a kingdom principle, and marriage is kingdom. So, of course, the kingdom principle of, serving even though you don't know if you're going to get it back, or I'm going to go all out and meet the needs of my spouse, or I'm going to go and I'm going to just go above and beyond, even if I don't know if I'm going to see this in return. Of course, that would actually produce the very thing that you don't think is possible, because that is the way the kingdom works. Those who are looking to save their life will lose it, but those who are willing to lose their life will save it. And just the really, it speaks to just the total paradigm shift that the kingdom is. And so many times us in our humanness will go, well, no, this is the only way that this works. I can only get these things met this way, when it's actually like, no, you need to actually release that, because that's actually not true. And there's probably a whole different way. If you're like holding on to all of these needs or all of these wants or desires or whatever it is that your heart is like, no, I'm wanting this and I'm longing for this. And actually, so many times Jesus is like, actually, if you let that go and you release that and you do the opposite, those things will come back to you. And I'll make sure that they do. And I guess a lot of trust goes in with that.
But that's how, in the most backwards way from what the world has taught or what we think it functions or operates as, is actually how we see love transform marriages, is actually how we see people get transformed individually. Yeah. It's how we see lasting change in marriages and families. And from that point forward, generations. Yeah.
It is. But that's the divine love. It wouldn't be divine if it was just human or if it just made sense in our human minds, because that's not the way it works. That's what makes it so powerful.
So if you would, please like, comment, and share. We do work with married couples. That's what we do. We're marriage coaches. And we would love to help you if you or your spouse are struggling. You guys have anything that you're going through that you need. We'd be happy to help you. We have a website, www.sowellministries.com. That's spelled as in Sowell, SOWELL ministries.com. Or you can find us on Instagram or X or Facebook, most of the platforms. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope that you'll come back for more, and thanks for listening.
Hope you have a great Valentine's Day. See you later.